Hey everybody, this is Strategywizard again, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Mr. Jack Extension, which is probably the worst name of an expansion I've ever heard. I don't know why they did that, but it's again designed by Bruno Cathala and Ludovic Maublanc, who designed the base game. And I didn't mention this in my review of the base game, but one thing is that they've got they have so many languages, even the rules and everything, so no matter what language you speak, there's a good chance it'll be here. And they've got, I don't even know what all these are, but they've got, Spanish and French and German and you name it. They've got a lot. So just wanted to point that out. Anyway, this expansion pretty much adds more characters, so you have more variety. Let's go ahead and go to the table. We'll look at what they do and how it plays and a little bit different setup, and we'll come back up and I'll tell you what I think. Okay, so with the extended version, or whatever you want to call it, of Mr. Jack, with the expansion, you basically have the exact same setup as far as the police cordons, the manholes, and the lampposts. That's exactly the same. Jack will still be seen and therefore unable to leave on the first turn. However, what's interesting is, well, the setup of the characters is going to be random in the sense that the characters get to choose where everyone starts. Now, you're going to have, in addition to new characters, you're also going to have this little blockade piece, which one of the characters gets to use. The characters are these nice, friendly people here, all wonderful people. I'm sure none of them would dare be Mr. Jack trying to kill innocent people, but let me show you what their powers are, and then I'll explain how the setup continues from here. The 5 characters include John Pizer the Butcher. You can move 1 to 3 spaces. If you move next to somebody, or if you ever end your turn next to somebody, they immediately are so afraid of you that they move 3 spaces away. So that's actually a way for the bad guy to push his own person away to escape quicker, which is great, but it could also be a way for the good guy to push somebody closer to who he thinks the bad guy is. So that's powerful for both sides. The Spring-Heeled Man. This guy is very interesting. He can move 1 to 3 spaces, but he can jump over people and obstacles. To jump over an obstacle, he has to be directly next to it. For 1 point of his 3 possible movements, he can just jump over an obstacle like that. He can't jump over it. He can't jump over 3 or 2 obstacles. It has to be 1, and he has to be right next to it and then jump over it. But if there's people, he can do even more. Let's say this guy's right here. He can jump, as long as it's symmetrical, he can jump all the way across. So if there's 2 spaces between them, there needs to be 2 spaces between them whenever you're done with a jump. So he could be here, and you would jump like this, or here, and jump like this, but you can't jump over more than 1 person, just like you can't jump over more than 1 obstacle. So he can do a lot of movement really fast, to put it quite simply. Now, yeah, that's all you really need to know. He's kind of scary in a sense because he can make some pretty powerful moves that you may not see them coming. The Joseph Lane, the anarchist, he basically doesn't like government, I guess is the best way to put it. He can move 1 to 3 spaces, and he has to move this the little blockade between 2 hexes. So he might move 1, 2, 3, and he can put this blockade right over here, which basically it blocks vision, so you can't see even so if you had the lamp with Watson, you couldn't actually light anyone up on the other side. Nobody can move through it even. Miss Stealthy cannot move through it. The Spring-Heeled Man cannot jump over it. So it really does just block everything. Then we have the Madam, who can move 6 spaces, which is humongous, but she cannot move through manholes. So she has to, she's way too fancy for that, doesn't want to get her dress nasty. She wants to stay clean, but bougie along the map like a crazy person. Then you have Inspector Aberline. He can move 1 to 3 spaces, and anyone who starts their turn next to him cannot move more than one space, because he's basically he's asking so many questions. They're kind of okay, yeah, but he won't stop asking, so it slows them down. They can only move one space away from him, so that's a great way to keep people from moving away. And again, that's good for both sides. The good guy might want to keep who he thinks the bad guy is from being able to move very far, or the bad guy might use him to keep the people from being able to move far to catch who he actually is. So good for both sides, big time. Now, whenever you set up, you're going to have optional characters. These optional characters include everybody except for Jeremy Burt, who moves the manhole covers, John Smith, who moves the lampposts, Inspector Lestrade, who moves the police cordon, and Sherlock Holmes, who gets to look at the alibi cards. Everyone else is optional, which means you're going to take all of those optional people, and let's see, I want to see one quick thing, make sure I got this right. Jeremy Burt, Sherlock Holmes, yeah. So all the optional characters, you'll take their cards, and there'll be 9 total, and you'll deal them out 5 to Mr. Jack, 4 to the good guy, the investigator, and you will decide which both of you will pick 2 that you want to use. So you'll have the Doctor, Sergeant Goodley, Watson, Miss Stealthy, and all those non-essential characters plus these. You'll have, like I say, you'll split them up 5 and 4. You'll pick 2 that you want to include. They'll pick 2 that they want to include, and that will decide what characters will be played in that game. Then once you start, you will take turns, just like the way the cards are here. The good guy will get to choose where somebody goes, then the bad guy gets to choose where 2 people go, and then the good guy gets to choose where somebody goes, and then you move up here, the bad guy gets to choose, and the good guy chooses twice, and the bad guy chooses last, and you can put them anywhere. You could have people right on the edge. Now, you can't leave at the beginning, as always, but you can end up having a complete splattering of where all the characters are. You never know where they're going to show up, and it can make things very tense from the very beginning. But everything else is played pretty much the same. You just have to, winning conditions are the same. All that is just the same. So that's how the setup works. That's all the components that you get. And I guess now we'll go ahead and go up and I'll tell you what I think about this expansion. Okay, so Mr. Jack Extension comes with interesting characters, to say the least, and characters that really feel powerful. I mean, being able to, and I should point this out, the little blockade, you can put it anywhere. You don't have to put it right next to where you move with our good little anarchist, but you can just plop it anywhere. And it starts, and actually whenever you first play him, you put it out somewhere at the very beginning of the setup. I forgot to mention that, should have, but that's one of the things that makes that guy really powerful. Right off the bat, you're blocking a path, and then every time you move him, which could be either one of you, of course, you're blocking another path, and blocking paths in this game can make a huge difference in the outcome. So hugely powerful there. And then having, being able to move 6 spaces with the Madam is insane. Even though you can't go through the manholes, being able to move 6 spaces, if you're the bad guy and this is who you are, you can just cruise right on through and escape pretty easily. And then with the Inspector Aberline, being able to keep people from moving away from you more than one space, that's insane. Especially if you can get next to 2 people at the same time and really limit their movement, that can be a big power play. And Pizer, being able to make people run, you could actually make yourself win if you're Mr. Jack and you're hidden. You could use him to push yourself out of the game, which is just another thing that keeps the inspector worried about where John Pizer is, who could he touch and make run away. All those things are really huge and very powerful for everyone, really. I mean, it's just awesome. Really enjoy it, and I find the characters to be refreshing. Oh, and of course the spring-heeled man, because being able to jump all over the place gives another type of quick movement that is a little more technical, and also could make some surprising movements that you don't see coming, and I like that. So overall, I mean, component quality is the same kind of thing. You're getting these little wooden pieces, you put the stickers on and everything, that's great. And you get more of these tiles, which the tiles are all very thick and wonderful and large. Can't complain about that. And it just works. I mean, I guess this is what I would want in an expansion for Mr. Jack. You want more characters, and the fact that now the setup can actually be somewhat random. I mean, yeah, the manholes and the police cordons and the lampposts are going to be in the same spot, but at least now the position of the characters can be different, and who's in each game will be different. So it adds a good bit of replayability that, you know, the game already had good replayability in my opinion, but this ramps that up a lot. New characters, more random starting of the game, and I can't really complain there. So this would have to get I'd give it an 8 out of 10 also. I mean, I don't think it's crucial to have to enjoy the base game, but I would recommend it because having more characters that can be, you know, influencing how you play, to me that's what this game really thrives on, is those special abilities. So having more makes a big difference for me. So I don't know if you agree. If you don't, leave it down in the comments. I'd appreciate that. I always like to see, you know, if anyone disagrees with me, or if you agree, then you can pipe in and say that too. But I really do highly recommend both games, Mr. Jack and, well, both games and its expansion. I think they're both really good. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. If this is helpful, give me a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, then you can subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. So take care, everybody. Bye.